Hey, my name is Tyler, here again at JTech. Today we're going to be talking about sensors and their locations. So today I'm going to go over the ambient air, and I'm also going to hit our MAF sensor, which is right here. The MAF sensor is also a boost regulation sensor also. It basically sees how much boost is going into the engine, and then ambient air temperature. That one is just covering the basic air temperature of what it is outside, whether or not it needs to heat it up. We're going to go ahead and move over to another truck, and we're going to see what other sensors we can find. So here we have an International. It has the MaxxForce 13 in it. We have our coolant level sensor, which, if you notice, we have our cold max and our cold minimum, which it should stay in between here, but if it drops below this sensor right here, it automatically puts the truck into limp mode, turning it into a protective warning, basically. And over here we have our EGR temp. Basically, it's just making sure that the EGR itself does not overheat and start melting away. We're going to go ahead and we're going to move over to Peterbilt, and then we're going to pull more sensors from it. See you over there.
Okay.
Here we have our Peterbilt 379 all E3406. We have our engine timing reference. This basically keeps the engine in time. If the cam gets out of time, it automatically adjusts and it's able to fix itself. We're going to move over to the other side. We're going to take a look at our oil pressure sensor. Oil pressure sensor sits right here. Runs straight into the engine. All this sensor does is it's basically measuring the amount of pressure that is inside that crankcase. If it gets above a certain pressure, the truck will go into limp mode and protect itself. If that sensor does not activate and does not give the limp mode code, then the engine itself will either blow the head gasket, throw a rod, and possibly ruin the whole truck. So now we're going to move over to our last truck. We're going to go over to our Deuce and a Half, and I'm going to show you guys some more sensors on it. So here we have our Deuce and a Half. It has a Detroit Diesel Series 60 in it. We have our intake ambient air temperature. Now this one, compared to the Freightliner, it's a little bit different of a setup. As you can see, this one has an actual tube going into it, and then it has this coupler. On the other one, it was just a sensor similar to this one right here that we just tighten down into it, and then you plug in your sensor. This one is actually a tube that runs off, and then it has sensors that connect into the tube that measure the amount of pressure that is being built up inside our intake here. And it tells the ECM how much pressure there is, whether or not it needs to slow down on the turbo, whether or not it needs to either increase or back off according to throttle response. So now we're going to head over to our exhaust manifold temperature gauge, or sensor, and we're going to take a look at it. And I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. Alright, so now we're on the passenger side. To show you guys what the exhaust manifold temperature gauge or sensor looks like, it's this sensor right here in the back. All it's doing is basically measuring what the temperature is, whether or not it's going to overheat, and how fast it actually has to move that coolant through the engine. So, with that being said, if the sensor is reading improperly, or if the truck is overheating, it'll automatically go into limp mode, protecting the truck from severe damage. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, comment if you have any questions. See you on the next one.